All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ole Miss After Dark. We are back once again with you here on this Wednesday to bring you some Week 12 winners. We'll look back at how everybody did on Week 11. I'm sure we will spend a more than sufficient amount of time on what the winner of Parlays did last week over there.
I'm
He had
interested.
himself quite a week.
Yeah, I'm interested to know what those results were. Yeah, I've been waiting all
Yeah.
week for it.
Yeah, I bet you were because you had no idea on Saturday. Those messages you kept sending to us over and over again were complete guesses. Wasn't keeping
Correct.
up with it at all.
Nope.
Yeah, so, but we'll do that. Look around the SEC, go through the lines that we don't mention in the show, and kind of give our leans for that as well. Before we do, though, let's say that we are brought to you by Rhythm, the absolute best sports handicapping app out there. You can go to Google Play or the App Store, and you can find Rhythm, RITHMM, download it, sign up, and get 7 days free. And you can build your own models, copy models from leaderboards, or have their AI generate models for you. College basketball is just tipped off within the last week as well. I used it a good bit last year for college basketball, had a lot of good results. College football still going on, NFL, NBA going on. So a lot of different ways you can use that app if you sign up. So go download it, RITHMM, and get 7 days free and try your luck with them. Also, to help support the show, y'all can go to omafterdark.myshopify.com. There you will find all the Ole Miss After Dark merchandise, hats, shirts, koozies, sweatshirts, winter's coming up. We've got great local products as well from Ecru, Mississippi. Papa Lynn's hot sauce, have 3 different varieties there with them. And also Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles is now live up on the website as well. Have 3 different variations of those. You can get you just a regular jar of the Cajun pickles, or you can get you a mix that has carrots and green beans in it as well. And we also have full jars of pickled asparagus, all from Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles, right here in the great state of Mississippi. When you get to checkout, make sure to use the promo code SHIP, SHIP, and you'll get free shipping no matter where you're at. We will ship it to you absolutely free. So make sure to use that promo code SHIP and save on shipping with every order. Guys, appreciate y'all joining me here once again today. Like I said, I knew this was going to be a big show for Chad, one he's been looking forward to for a few days now. So let's go ahead and dive into what we did in Week 11. I will go ahead and spoil it for everybody. One of us had a much better week than the other two. Let's see. Yeah, it might have been. Let's see. All right. So Week 11, I end up going 2-2. I hit my money line with Ole Miss plus 125. That keeps me in the positive for the week. I was 2-2 plus 0.05 units. It doesn't matter how much you're in the green as long as you're in the green. And damn it, I stayed there. Overall, that brings my record to 21-23 plus 5.6 units on the year. Hitch goes 2-2 as well, minus 1 unit. 21-23 overall on the year, but he's still positive 4.07 units. Hitch has been on fire with the plus money plays all year long. And then once again, Chad, the winner of Parlays, really close to a sweep here, if I'm not mistaken. Oregon was trying to cover that one for you, weren't they, Chad?
They sure were. I was really gunning for it, but Maryland just kept having other plans.
Just kept coming. So, but good news is you finished 3-1 on the week, and you hit the trifecta parlay with Ole Miss, Missouri, and San Jose State all to win at plus 1013.
Wow.
Huge money line parlay there for you. So you go 3-1 plus 11.03 units on the week. It is pretty good. Brings your overall record.
Than y'all done all season.
A lot. You did better in 1 week.
A lot better.
Than the whole season.
Better.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, if you add mine and Hitch's unit totals together, and we're both in the positive, you still more than double us so far.
Oh, dang. Man, okay.
I know,
this has been a fun season. All right.
Right. But you're 23-20-1. You're the only one with a tie so far this year, so you get that designation as well. But you were plus 13.78 units so far on the year. So, it's been a hell of a year for you so far. And like I said, that 3
Say again. How many? What was it?
23-20-1 plus 13.78 units.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good one. Looking real quick at the straight bets, all over 500 after last week on those as well. I'm 17-16. Hitch is 18-15. And once again, Chad, winner of parlays, winner of bets. It doesn't matter. Anything he puts in, he wins. 20, 11, and 1 on straight bets so far this year. That's a hell of a number.
Ridiculous.
Wow.
Like that's like
hell
we can be funny. We can be funny and play around. And Chad with his little character he's playing, but that's impressive.
Yeah, that's a good number there. Good number.
Three more. Got 3 more.
What's also very funny is the pile of shit that has been dumped on me today. Oddly enough, what you're doing is making it so much better. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Chad. This character, I love this character.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what we're here for, man. We're here to put smiles on faces. That's the only reason we do this.
Let's go.
All right, let's go ahead and dive into our Week 12 winners then, and I'll get this thing kicked off. I'm actually going to start this thing off on Friday night. North Texas is traveling to UTSA at 7 o'clock on Friday night, I believe, is the start time for that one. The Mean Green are 2-point favorites on the road, and I'm going to ride them at -2 right here. Love this offense, what they can do. They can really explode on you at any time. Obviously tough going on the road on a short week as well. On top of that, that's usually not a spot I like to take a favorite at, but I do like North Texas -2 here just because of that offense. I think they can get going and can stretch this thing out.
Yeah, I'm actually on North Texas as well. Not one of my picks, but I got them at -1. But San Antonio, they have just not. They've been a good program the last couple of years. Since they've made the jump to FCS. I mean, from FCS. But yeah, they just haven't really got it going. And I like that North Texas offense. I didn't see too many major injuries, so yeah, my numbers like them a lot better than what the current line was. So yeah.
Yeah. This one made the short list. I didn't include it on the show, but I look at this one pretty hard. I like UNT almost week in and week out with that offense. I went against them a couple of weeks ago and hit, but for the most part, they've been money this year and they can score from anywhere on the field. So that's when it's less than a field goal or less than a touchdown, when a team can score from anywhere on the field like they can, I think they're number one in explosiveness.
They are.
They're always in that game to cover. So yeah, I like it. It's good pick.
Yep. All right, Hitch, what's your first one?
All right, I'm going to start out in the SEC. I think I'm going to go with the Tennessee-Georgia under. It's 48.5. I think you got two good defenses. They're both good at forcing field goals. They're both good at forcing the other team to play behind schedule, play in passing downs instead of standard downs. Carson Beck was a mess last week against the Rebels, and I know that's a defense that is not quite the same that they'll be facing this week, right? But this wasn't the only time he's looked a mess, right? Like there's been a couple of games where he just hasn't been the same. Nico, I'm just realizing I'm saying his name out loud for the first time. Amalieva is questionable. He may be out, right? And so even if he does play, he may not be as effective. I just don't see this game being high scoring, especially with Tennessee and their slow starts. If they start out slow here, they may not score at all. And so I just kind of like that under 48. I wish it were a little higher in the 50s, but under 48.5, I think we're going to be safe there with that under.
Yeah, I definitely don't trust the Georgia offense after seeing what they did last week to pitch in there. So, and especially with Nico, even not being at 100%. Yeah, I would lean toward the under as well.
Yeah, and actually saw yesterday. I can't remember who came out and said it. They're not expecting Nico to play. They're expecting him to be out this weekend. Like you said, Hitch, the slow starts for Tennessee. That's been a talking point for a few weeks now. I know we mentioned it last week when they played Mississippi State as well. So that's going to be tough. And I'm going to go ahead and make my second pick here because I'm on this game too. So while we're talking about it, I'm going to throw this in there. I like Georgia -10. This is a program that has won a couple national championships, played for another, obviously. This is where Kirby Smart shines. This is why he's the best coach in the entire country. He's going to have these guys motivated. I do worry about Georgia protecting Carson Beck a little bit because Tennessee can get after you up front. That's one thing they do very, very well defensively. They can get to the quarterback, but I expect Kirby and the guys to get in there, figure out a way to fix that, keep Carson Beck upright, and kind of to your point, Hitch, I don't expect Tennessee to pitch in a whole lot scoring right here. This is do or die time for Georgia. If they don't win, they're out of the playoffs. So it's pretty narrative-y. Is that the word Chad always uses, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's the word I always use about Chad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe.
It's a made-up word,
Yeah, but I think it's a big game for Georgia. I think Kirby will have the guys ready to play. I'll take Georgia -10. It's a big number, but if Nico doesn't play, I just don't think Tennessee's going to be able to put a whole lot of points on the board to do anything to stay within that number.
Yeah. That number is very surprising to me when I first saw it, especially considering how good Tennessee has looked, even though they have lost a few games. I really don't know what to make of it, especially with Nico potentially being out. Yeah, obviously I would like Georgia then, but even with him, the number was pretty high, even with him supposed to play, right? Yeah. So I don't really know what to make of it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Chad, what's your
I'm with you.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, just one more point is I think Georgia gets up a couple of scores and then just starts running the ball, right, to protect Carson Beck from that defensive line. And I think that you're going to see both teams try to establish the running game, which is great for an under, right? I know we're done talking about the under, but I think Georgia has the advantage there with trying to do that.
Yeah, and that's something they're going to have to do. They're going to have to establish the run. If you've watched Georgia the last 2-3 games, that's one thing they haven't been able to do is run the ball. I would think they're going into the film studies and the coaches' meeting rooms and trying to figure out a way to get that running game going and take pressure off Carson Beck. So, all right, Chad, what's your first one?
All right, speaking of great defenses, keep that trend going. I've got Hawaii -2.5.
Yeah,
Utah State. Utah State's one of the worst teams in FBS, right? If you're looking at PFF grades, their defense is a 60. That's bad. Hawaii is sneaky, been at least grade-wise. I've given up a bunch of points, but grade-wise, they're one of the higher ranked. They're at 87%. I think that they're a better team. I'm getting less than a field goal. Yes, they're on the road, but they're still eligible for a bowl, 4-6. So this is a game they can win. I think they will win. So I'll take Hawaii.
Yeah, this was actually one that made my short list as well. As soon as I saw it and I started digging into it, I'm probably going to end up getting on Hawaii. One thing that kind of threw me off was anytime Hawaii goes on the road, it's always a long road trip for them, right? There's always a lot of travel involved. But like you said, the thing that caught my eye was the fact that Utah State is so bad. I know we've talked about it a few times on this show. We have auto-faded Utah State a couple times this year. Once I saw that it was under a field goal, that's what got me interested in it. I'm probably going to end up on the Rainbow Warriors myself.
Yeah, I completely overlooked this one, and I started to ask myself how. And then I remembered that for whatever reason, when I see Hawaii, it's almost like just an automatic. I don't even look at it because
they've been so
I don't
bad.
know. I don't know. Well, and two, it's like I don't know who they are. Like you just said, if you go look at their defense this year, their defense is pretty good. Versus in the past, when you think of Hawaii, you think of like high flying, put up a bunch of points, not playing defenses. Yeah, no, I like this one too. 2.5, I think, probably a good bet with Hawaii.
Yeah. All right, Hitch, going back to you since I went ahead and made my second pick earlier.
All right. I think for the first time all year, I'm going to back Coach Prime. Colorado -11.5. So looking at this one, Utah has lost 5 straight games, including kind of a heartbreaker, I guess, if you want to say that, last week to BYU. They were winning that game for much of the game, and then only to get beat by a point. They're also have lost 4 out of their last 5 when it comes to against the spread. It just feels like their season is headed, the opposite direction of Colorado's right now. You got Cam Rising, who is probably done and not playing. But when you flip over to Colorado, right, Colorado has covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 8 times this year. They've won 3 in a row, including a big road win last week in Lubbock. They go to Texas Tech team that's pretty good this year and win by 14. The Utah defense, I think, is worrisome here a little bit. The numbers, they look pretty good, but when you look at it, really probably the best offensive, these caliber of teams that they've played, Arizona State, BYU, and TCU, really in the middle of the pack when it comes to offenses. So I think I'm going to go with the best player on the field, the 2 best players on the field, probably Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. And I think let them cover this for me. I really think that playing off what Chad said last week, it's really resonated with me. Teams not playing for something versus teams playing for something. And it's under a couple of touchdowns here. I think Colorado's playing for something. I think, they want to prove something. It's at home. And I saw something earlier. I won't take time to look it up, but Deion Sanders is, I think, the most successful coach in the past 2 years covering double-digit spreads like this. And so, but yeah, Colorado minus 11.5 is what I got it earlier.
Yeah, I did not look much at this game. My numbers had it pretty much right on at that. I'm still surprised at how well Colorado's done, right? Seeing last year and how poor those lines, but also look at Ole Miss, right? That offensive and defensive line are so vastly different. It just shows you how important that is. And it's time to start believing, because once you shore up that line, you've got the talent behind them to make plays, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, well, it really feels like whatever game it was that Shedeur Sanders, was it Nebraska, that he kind of went after the offensive line? Yeah. They've been beat one other time since that, K-State, but K-State's a pretty good team, and it was, pretty close game. So I like Colorado.
Yeah, this is obviously a different era in college football, right? Kind of to your point, Chad, the 2 lines of scrimmage, you go back to Ole Miss and Colorado both. And what do they have in common? They have 2 head coaches that are going to attack the transfer portal and attack it hard and bring in players and try to change it immediately. And it's working at both programs right now. You're seeing that right now. I also didn't look much into this game. I saw the line. My initial thoughts were Colorado, but I didn't start looking at anything beyond that. But to your point, Hitch, of having something to play for, not only is Colorado right in the thick of things in the Big 12 championship race, and if they win that, obviously they can go win the playoffs. But they got 2 guys who were in the top 5 favorites for the Heisman Trophy, and Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. So not only do they want to keep winning, they want those guys to have big games as well. Could some stat padding going on here that would obviously help you cover the 11.5.
I'd love that.
Yeah. All right, Jeff.
All right. We are fun belting now.
Oh, yeah.
Southern Miss is really, really bad.
So bad.
That's why I like Texas State minus 26.5. Just seeing what Texas State did last week, I think they put up 295 yards rushing. They can score. Their defense is pretty good. Southern Miss didn't have either of those things. I'm gonna hope they win by more than 26.5. That's my analysis.
Yeah, this was actually on my short list too. So you're 2 for 2 on that. I looked at this one as well. Will end up betting this one, just like I will the Hawaii game. For every reason you just said, Texas State can go down the field. They can put up points in a hurry, and Southern Miss is just in absolute chaos right now. They can't score. They can't stop anybody. We've almost reached a point to where no number is too big to bet against the Golden Eagles.
No.
It's getting there. Yeah. Agreed. I ain't got much else to say about it.
All right. For my 3rd pick, we are going to go to the Plains. Auburn Tigers are hosting the University of Louisiana Monroe Warhawks. All right. I'm going to take ULM plus 24 here. I like ULM's ability to run the ball. I hate Auburn's ability to score the ball. Still getting abysmal quarterback play right now from the Tigers. And that's just a ton of points to cover for a team that can't score. You're talking about 3 touchdowns and a field goal, and I'll still get a push out of it. One thing that worries me, ULM's ability to block Auburn's front. That's going to be a problem for them, right? because that's what ULM's going to want to lean on is running the football, and they're not very good at run blocking. That's one thing that they do struggle at, and Auburn is good up front, obviously. They have athletes up there. They got big guys. But this is one of those where if I can get 10 points out of the Warhawks, I think they cover here because ULM isn't awful on defense. They're not great by any stretch, and they're going to have trouble with size and athleticism, all that, sure. But I still don't trust this Auburn offense to go down there and score because of the quarterback play. Peyton Thorne's been so bad. I just can't trust him to go down there and put up 35 points, to cover this thing.
Yeah, this was actually on my where everybody's talking about short lists today. This was on mine. I actually had a bet in. I took it back only because I just feel like what Monroe does well plays into Auburn.
It does.
I don't see how Monroe scores. Now, obviously, that's definitely a question you can apply to Auburn for the rest of the season. But yeah, I wonder about turnovers. But yes, I do like Monroe. I just did not love, how they've been playing lately, but also those trenches. I think that's going to be a problem for them.
It's a trouble.
Yeah, Auburn is almost an auto fade for me. I hate them. I can't stand to watch them play. It makes me almost sick.
It's grueling. It is. It really is. So, all right, Hitch, what's your last one?
Man, last week in damn Kansas Jayhawks got me. Got me good. I didn't see that coming.
And now they're going to have these boys.
They're going to have to do it again this week, though. I started looking at, I don't either, and that's what worries me. Because it's at home, right? BYU's at home. It's 3 points. Kansas has been awful. But it's one of those situations that I guess that they're just going to have to get me here. Because when I look at it, right, BYU is just a much better team. It's much closer to a touchdown or 10 points in my mind. Now, you do have the angle of BYU coming off of that win last week against Utah, barely scraping by, and you do have the letdown here against Kansas. But I like to look at it maybe from a different view. I think that maybe BYU is now 8 or 9-0. That was a scare last week. They know that they can't let that happen again. And that, what BYU, the quarterback, and that offense goes or invites Kansas in and just takes care of them, right?
Yeah,
I think they win big.
Yeah, I don't. I liked BYU as well. My numbers did. I didn't play it because it stinks, and Kansas. I see it's under 3 in some places. You get 2.5 somewhere. Is that what you got it at, or did you get it at 3?
I didn't. It was at 3 earlier. I hadn't looked.
Okay, I saw it drop at 2.5. But
yeah,
I don't know why the disrespect to BYU, but yeah, until they lose, I would keep playing them.
Yeah. I like BYU here too. That's another one that I looked at, and quite frankly, the only reason it didn't make my list is because I knew, without even talking to Hitch, that it was going to be a play for him, and so I didn't want to double up there. I will also be on the Cougars. I don't understand why it's only a 3-point line. And sure enough, if I can get it under a field goal, then I'm sure going to jump on it. And I think Hitch brought up a good point. BYU got their scare, and they survived the scare, right? A lot of times those teams don't survive the scare, and it takes a loss to kind of reel them back in and say, hey, you're about to lose your only opportunity to go into the playoffs, win a Big 12 championship, all of that. Well, they survived it. They should get back on track here. I love it here at this number. And if it dips under 3, then they might get me in a big way come Saturday if that's the case.
They might get me in a 27.4 way.
All right, Chad, what's your last one?
Let's see. I've got a few choices here. I like Texas at Arkansas, but I'm not going to go there. I think I'm going to take Burt -3. I wish I could get 2.5. -3 against Michigan State in Champaign. I think they're the better team. Like I said, I wish it was a little bit more of the field goal because I don't think there's going to be any points scored in this game. But I think they're the better team. They're at home, so I'm going to take the Illini.
Yeah. Another one I looked at it. -3 at home against an improving Michigan State team. They're obviously not as bad as they were the last couple of years. That coach has done an incredible job in year one, kind of changing culture and turning that thing around a little bit. But I've liked what Illinois has done so far this year. I think they've played pretty well. Altmaier's having a really good year under Burt, which is almost impossible for any quarterback to do, but he's doing it. So that's impressive in itself. Like I said, get it under a field goal. I'll feel a hell of a lot better about it, but I don't mind it at 3. And if it stays here, I'm going to end up playing it too.
Yeah, the Michigan State offensive line is awful, and I think and Illinois' defense, they should be able to exploit that.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Team Burt. Here we go.
That's right. Oh, this whole show is Team Burt. That's what we do here. We love us some Burt here on this show. All right, going to our plus money plays here. I'm going with the team that did me right last week. Took them as an underdog, not on the show, but just personally. Ended up covering for me. The West Virginia Mountaineers are at home, and they are plus 113 this weekend against Baylor. Baylor has looked a lot better than I initially thought earlier in the year. They were a team that I didn't have high hopes for. They've improved a lot from what I initially thought of them. Dave Aranda's kind of turned them around a little bit here. But West Virginia, one thing that really impresses me, they've been underdogs in 5 straight games. They've won outright 3 of those 5 games. All right, this is a team that's undervalued right now. Get them at home. I think they're going to be able to beat this favorite team. They're playing particularly well right now. West Virginia is winning the last 2 weekends. And like I said, if you win outright 3 out of the last 5 games as an underdog, then I'm just going to keep riding, even though it's a slight underdog at this point. But my numbers have West Virginia somewhere like -1.5, -2 personally.
Yeah, mine's right around there. So yeah, I always like the home team in a close game, and especially one that's been inconsistent like Baylor. Yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah, inconsistency is the key word right there for Baylor. I mean, they've looked like world beaters and they've looked like, not very good. So, like Chad said, a short home dog like this is always a good for plus money. Yeah. I am going to take the opposite approach and take a long road dog. Arizona State. Going to Kansas State. Arizona State plus 265. I think I say this every week, but when I'm looking at plays like this, I'm looking at explosiveness. I'm looking at like havoc, different things like that. And Kansas State kind of fits the mold a little bit when it comes to defense. They're bottom of the country when it comes to letting explosive plays happen. The quarterback Avery Johnson, right, freshman. They're 8-2. This is a big season for Kansas State, right? Like the Arizona State defense hasn't been great, but Avery Johnson has thrown some interceptions this year. And I think that maybe Arizona State can capitalize on that. Their DBs, they're about middle in the country when it comes to causing havoc. I just think that Arizona State, if Cam Scadaboo plays, which he's projected to, and that quarterback they've got, Sam Levitt, Avery Johnson may be one of the best players on the field. But I think his inexperience gets him here, and Arizona State wins this one, in Manhattan.
This is already a play I have, not the money line, but I like Arizona State. I got them at +9. I think they're down to +8 in some places as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that offense. Kansas State, they have, it's in Manhattan, which is always a concern. But no, I like Arizona State as well. So, a win would make me happy. That's money for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and kind of like you said, Arizona State, they get that running back, and like you said, he is projected to play. I saw something on him earlier before we started recording, and man, he's a load back there when he gets going downhill, right? And if you can keep the ball away from that Kansas State offense on the road and just be really physical with them, you're going to give yourself a shot, and that's when the numbers started going back down that you were talking about, Hitch, after that come out that he was probably going to play. So, yeah, I like that as well.
He reminds me of Peyton Hillis a little bit. Scatterby.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good comp.
You're not going to tackle him on first contact.
No.
So I parlayed money line a few of my picks. So Hawaii, Illinois, Georgia State on the money line. 397. Sorry, it's just it's known as the winning formula. I don't.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say.
Y'all might not have gotten that over there yet, but yeah.
I was thinking about it.
That's what I went
Look,
with.
you don't have to hit many of these. You just need to hit one of them, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I think I did it, and I did that last week, right, Dids?
Yeah.
Let me check.
According to my numbers,
So, yeah,
yes.
there you go.
Now I've been wrong before though.
That's true.
Yeah. My numbers,
A
yeah.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'll crunch them again.
You too? Yeah. Let's crunch those numbers again. All right. Well, look, before we get out of here, let's take a look around the SEC. Some of the games we didn't get to talk about or talk
God,
about.
I think there is a super interesting one.
Southeastern Conference.
Yes.
I hate you.
Already talked about Monroe at Auburn and Tennessee at Georgia. And we already know Chad's thoughts on this next one. Texas minus 13.5 traveling to Fayetteville. Chad has said that he liked Texas in that one. I actually like the Razorbacks here. I really liked it earlier in the week when it was up to like 15.5.
Yeah.
Get me over 2 touchdowns. But look, Taylor Green is one hell of a player. This game means so much to that fan base in that school. For whatever reason, Arkansas, I say for whatever reason, going back to the Southwest Conference days, all that big rivalry there between these two, and now it's starting to get back up as well. Texas traveled to Fayetteville a couple of years ago and absolutely got their asses kicked.
They did.
Mainly in the trenches. Texas has fixed that. That's kind of one of the reasons they've had such a smooth transition to the SEC. But that's a lot of points for a Texas team that outside of Georgia really hasn't played anybody and faced any adversity. So I think Arkansas can at least stay within a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, this is a tough one. For exactly what you said there. Arkansas seems to always play this game. I saw a trend earlier where Arkansas has some kind of ridiculous number against the spread against Texas.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
they do.
Mm-hmm.
More than a couple touchdowns, I'll take Arkansas at home.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like a Pittman's going to pull it out game already.
Mm-hmm.
My number's just like Texas.
Yeah, and look, we're in the last 3 weeks of the season. Something weird is going to happen at some point. Hopefully it won't be to the Rebels, but one of these top teams is going to end up getting knocked off from against a team they're not supposed to. So that's one to keep an eye on there. Murray State plus 37.5 on the road in Lexington against Kentucky. I have no clue, but what I don't do is trust Kentucky to outscore somebody by 38 points. For the number alone, I will take Murray State plus 37.5, but I have no idea on it.
I ain't talking about this game.
37.5. I'll take the under. I'll take the under 37.5.
Okay. Under 37.5. There you go. That's a good one there.
I don't know a damn thing about Murray State.
Me either, but I also don't think Kentucky can score 38. So
that's fair.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have the Mercer Bears traveling to Tuscaloosa and catching 41.5 points. Chad, I'm going to go ahead and give the stage to you and go ahead and give us our deep dive on the Bears and the Tide.
What's the number?
41.5.
Sure. I'll take Alabama. I don't know.
Yes, Alabama.
They score points.
Why do they even put spreads up for games like this?
All right,
People will bet it.
Mercer.
It's crazy.
They sure will. I'm probably going to end up being one of them for whatever reason. This is going to be an interesting one here.
Okay,
LSU,
here we go.
LSU minus 4.5 on the road at Florida. What makes this interesting, LSU, if you look at it, already 3 losses out of the college football playoff, but not really. There's a scenario out there where if the favorites win the rest of the way and then Arkansas beats Missouri the last game on the last week of the year, LSU plays Texas A&M in the SEC championship game. They win that game, they're automatically in with 3 losses. We need LSU to lose this game or lose a game the rest of the way or something to happen because this is one of those March Madness potential bid stealer situations going on here. They still got a ton to play for.
Yeah, I like LSU. That's what I was actually considering putting a bet in on LSU, but I don't like the 4.5. But yeah, that's why I would lean LSU.
Yeah, same. I don't. This is a weird one. because it feels like LSU has nothing to play for, right, with 3 losses. But when you really look at it, they do. But I hope LSU goes down there and beats Florida up. So next week, it's a lot easier for the Rebels. I'll take LSU.
Yeah, I hope Florida pulls something out here, but I'm going to also have to go with the Bayou Bengals because even if DJ Lagway does play, he's not going to be as effective as he was earlier in the year before this hamstring injury. And that quarterback that Florida played last weekend, if they got to play him again, there is no shot in hell they're covering 4.5. So I would also take LSU. Another interesting one here, the Battle of the Columbias, Mizzou catching 12.5, traveling to South Carolina.
This is the one I was talking about.
Kind of the same thing, man. If Missouri has to keep playing Drew Pine, I know they were able to squeak out a win against a bad Oklahoma team last week, and by squeak out, literally scoop and score to win the game, right? This USC defensive line, though, when they pin their ears back and they decide to get after your ass, there ain't a damn thing you can do about it, man. If I had to lean one way or another, I won't be playing it personally, but I'm going to side with the Gamecocks at minus 12.5.
If Cook was playing, I would take Mizzou. But
I would too.
But then again, I guess the number wouldn't be that high either. But I don't. I can't play Missouri at that number with Drew Pine.
You talking about Brandon Cook?
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's playing, I'm taking Mizzou money line.
Yeah, he'll weld together some touchdowns for you.
Yeah, South Carolina, the defensive line is probably going to win the game. This one's just weird because you have 2 teams that are right next to each other in the standings, and you're telling me that there's a 12-point difference in those teams.
South Carolina is playing like one of the better teams in the country right now.
It's wild to see.
It's kind of funny because the Ole Miss loss to Kentucky looks worse by the day, and the win at South Carolina looks better and better by the day.
It really does.
Kind of offsetting a little bit right there. All right, Chad, here's another one I need you to break down for me. New Mexico State traveling to College Station. New Mexico State plus 39.5 at the Aggies.
I actually like New Mexico State in this one. My numbers like New Mexico State. I'm not placing a bet on it. Man, I would lean New Mexico State. Fine. You know what? I'll put one in.
There we go. Talk him into it.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Chad's numbers like New Mexico State. I like New Mexico State.
I will actually go ahead and hop on New Mexico State myself just because of Chad Flowers over there. If his numbers say it, then I'm
39.5 booked.
Yep, 39.5. That's what I got. My man. All right. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all joining me this week. Appreciate everybody out there watching, listening, all that good stuff. And remember to stop by our online store, omafterdark.myshopify.com. Get all your merchandise, pickles, hot sauces, whatever you want, and use promo code SHIP, and we will ship it all to you absolutely free. Gentlemen, we will do this again next Wednesday night. We will recap our Week 12 picks, see how we did. Talk about how much money Chad made once more, and then we will dive into Week 13.
All right, boys.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
See y'all.